Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood. John, will you give me your best open your eyes in the style of Zelda from Legend of Zelda?
Oh, what?
In the trailer, she goes, "Open your eyes," but more like her weird half-British accent.
Open your eyes.
That was, hey John?
Mm-hmm.
That was actually pretty good. That's probably the intro this time. The only podcast brave enough to ask the question, hey, what's up with cars? I'm Lucas Southworth.
And I'm... Yeah!
Now, it's pretty clear that you're Princess Zelda now.
Okay.
So, sorry, I guess. Or, you know what? I'm not sorry. She's really cool in this game and the previous one.
I gotta say, I will disagree a little bit, because in this one, she died real quick.
She don't die.
Spoiler
she fall
alert.
in big hole.
And turn to dust.
Turns
Spoiler
to
alert,
light.
that's one of the first things that happens in the game.
Yeah, one of the later things that happens in the game is you realize what actually happened to her, but...
Well, maybe I'm not that far in the game yet.
Have you gone to any of the big paintings on the ground?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then yeah, you're that far in the game.
I've gone to a tier.
Yeah, you're good. You know what's happening then, quite frankly.
Yeah.
That's right. We are talking about The Legend of Zelda today. I guess it's an origin, we said, but mostly it's an excuse to talk about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom because, John, over the past week, I've done two things.
Mm-hmm.
I have played Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and done other things while thinking about playing Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay. But have you played it?
Yes, yeah, quite a lot, like an embarrassing amount, I would say.
Now, how's that possible?
I play it instead of working sometimes when I work from home. Unnamed boss of Lucas, if you're listening, that was a lie. But yeah, no, I've played it quite a lot.
Okay. Well, my question is more about how is it possible for it to be an embarrassing amount, because this game is just weirdly good.
Yeah, man, like what they've done is they said, "Oh, you liked Breath of the Wild? Well, here it is again, but better." And I didn't know that was fully possible because Breath of the Wild is one of the greatest games ever made, and this is also
Now,
one of the greatest games ever made.
one thing I will say is that rather than agree that it's necessarily better, I will say, as far as I can tell, it is 3 times bigger.
Yeah.
Which 3 times the size of a great thing is basically 3 great things, right? So that's something.
It is
Boy,
something.
howdy. I have gotten not that far in this game, and the scope is daunting. In the last one, you're exploring this world. You get through the tutorial, and you're like, oh, that was just one little part of this essentially country. And in this one, that happens, and then you realize, oh wait, there's a lot more material still in the sky. And then you realize, wait a minute, there's a there's an underground level. So it's the same size as the last one because it's still Hyrule, but then also it's two other of that.
Not to mention, they put an in between to the depths and the main level with caves everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
just every single place. Uh, I got a thing that I won't reveal how to get it, and if you haven't, gathered this by now, we're probably going to spoil some parts of Breath of Tears of the Kingdom throughout this. But I got a thing, I won't reveal how, that like made every cave entrance around me glow for like a minute. And I looked around and I went, oh, okay, so I'm not gonna go to every cave. That's fine. Cool. Good to know, actually.
Okay. See, all I've experienced so far to get there is wait a minute, there's a dark, creepy red and black hole. Uh, what if I just jump in it? And that's how I discovered the depths.
The depths are wild, man. They're very
Mm-hmm.
scary.
Yep. And I have encountered like three times just the ability to lose your hearts. And I
Yeah.
still don't know if it's forever, forever, but it seems like it is. And that's spooky. But every time I lose one of my hearts, I just like, you know what? I'm going to just die now.
Yeah. Do you want me to reveal how if it's forever, forever or not to you?
My imagination tells me that you just go to one of the temples and it'll purify you.
Yeah, either go to the surface or one of those glowy root things and you can get your hearts back.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's a very good video game. Also, and there's a reason we're doing it on our Cars podcast. You can make cars in it,
Hmm.
and also there are seemingly sentient robots in it. So
Now, I will argue a little bit with the idea of them being sentient.
yeah, yeah, that's why I went for the seemingly.
Yeah, because at this point in the game, I've heard a comment or two, and it was basically like, oh, we programmed them to do these things a long time ago, and they're just still doing them.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
yeah,
Almost as if they don't have free will or
yeah.
choice.
That's what it is for me. Is they're certainly driven by what they were originally programmed to do,
Hmm.
but at the same time, like there are ones you can talk to, and the ones I talk to at least have some personality programmed into them, some like opinions on stuff.
Mm.
Like I did a little mini game where I had to dive through rings, uh, and when I did it so fast because I'm an incredible gamer, uh, the guy went incredible. I've never seen someone do it that fast. Uh, so, and that could easily be programmed in these like vocal tics to make them seem more free thinking. But they could also be there a little free thinking. They just have to do what they were programmed to do at the same time. So I don't know where the line for sentience is drawn there.
I will say that there's at least the option of not saying that, because that's not what I heard when I went relatively fast.
Oh, well, John, you just got to be a better gamer. Or there are multiple instances of that same mini game, so maybe it was a different one.
I went to the, oh shoot, something of courage.
Yeah, there's an island of courage and an island of bravery, and they're the exact same mini game, but one is a little harder. So who could say?
Okay. Uh, Interesting. I didn't know that they distinguish between courage and bravery.
Yeah. So if you want a pair of pants to go with your shirt, or a shirt to go with your pair of pants that you got, maybe seek that out.
I just assumed you got the other one if you went faster.
Nah, there's a whole different like place.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a hat. I don't know how they would do a hat for spoilers for a reward for a specific minigame, a wingsuit.
Hmm.
But maybe it's just like a cap to like a bald cap, sort of, to hold in your hair to make you more aerodynamic.
Hmm.
Who can
Now,
say?
just the shirt has been. weirdly helpful in everything to do with going up in the cold place.
Yeah, yeah. It's very helpful to just be to not have to bring your paraglider out and move while falling in this game.
Mm-hmm. Boy, howdy. It is easy to take massive amount of fall damage from relatively short falls if it's registered you as having fallen for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a game about shooting you into the sky pretty constantly, so
Mm-hmm.
that'll happen. It certainly has to me a few times.
It is nice that they went with the Minecraft logic of if you touch water when you land, you're fine.
Yeah.
If it's a puddle that's like a foot deep, you're fine.
But anyway, for a set, just to make sure, we're this is mostly going to be us just rambling about our base level thoughts on Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
But just to make it an origin, the argument here is you combine the fact that you can make cars with the fact that there are sort of sentient robots, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're 95% of the way to cars. Are we on the same track there?
Yeah, that plus the idea that we've gone strongly with multiple times is magic.
Yeah, magic straight up exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say something in the favor of this is that there is a group of the sentient robots whose whole deal is they try to kill anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you or just the other monsters they see in the game. Which,
Anything that has intruded on their
yeah,
space.
have you encountered a situation where there's a barrier between like some robots and some bokoblins, and you burn it down, and then they fight each other?
I've not, but I have just stumbled upon areas where they're close enough that they just start fighting, and I just wait until they've killed each other.
Oh, you just pick off the rest of them. It's very fun.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very fun game. Is something we're going to be coming back to, I imagine, a lot.
Hmm. It's time for Complaint Corner, though.
Okay, sure.
I feel like the magical powers in this game take a lot longer.
They do. They do. Uh, but I will say one of them is basically engineering the video game, sort of.
Yes, it's, hey, we heard you like Minecraft. What if that was also this game?
Sort of engineering for babies, maybe, but
Hmm.
still,
And you know the thing that Minecraft doesn't have that this game does?
bokoblins.
Uh, r-
Zelda.
rotary motion.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but also bokoblins.
It's just one of my favorite enemy names ever. It's
Hmm.
it's so obviously just goblins, but bokoblins is it's fun to say, if nothing else.
There's also the new one that just looks like a weird caveman Ganon. Uh, and I forget what it's called, but it's like Evil Oblin or something.
Oh, the Horoblins.
Horriblin, yeah, it's
Yes.
horrible goblin.
The ones that climb around on the ceiling and stuff.
Yeah, and it's just, why does this enemy just look like Ganon?
It does a little bit. I don't know that I connected that. But
Like
yeah, I
at
kind of
first
do.
I thought, I was like, wait a minute, is this just the guy?
I
But then
stumbled
I
into
checked
the
out the
wrong
name.
random cave
Hmm.
or well or something. Have you
I
been
know in the
going into
first
wells,
game.
John?
Oh boy.
You got it. Every time you see a well, go into a well, is what I'll
Okay.
say. Sometimes it's not good, but sometimes it is.
I gotta start doing that. But
Yeah, it's very fun.
again, like in the first game, it's possible to just go straight up to Ganon and fight him. So maybe you stumble upon a cave and you're just fighting the final enemy.
I gotta imagine that's possible in this game. Like, I don't know for sure where Ganon is in this game, and I've put in a lot of hours and solved two of like the main quests in it. I assume he's in the castle because, like,
I assume he's under the castle.
yeah, one of those two. He's either in the castle or directly underneath the castle in the depths.
Hmm.
But
Or if they're real weird about it, he could be above the castle.
he could. But the castle is also flying.
Hmm.
But the fact that I don't know that for sure is something that's very exciting to me.
Yeah, yep,
That
yep.
I'm this far in, and like I've got the master sword, baby. I don't know where to point it though.
I when do you get that back? Because I thought it would be like a, oh, you gradually fix it and you have it the whole time, but it needs to recharge and fix itself. But no, like you have it, and then Zelda's like, nah, that's mine now. Leading to one of the first times I immediately thought, oh, you're about to play as Zelda. Nope.
Yeah. Real quick to answer your question, I just sort of stumbled onto the quest that led to the quest that led to the quest to get the master sword, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can get it whenever, you just have to know where to go.
Okay,
Uh
so it's not a you need certain amount of hearts.
well, it's not you need a certain amount of hearts. I'll say that.
Is it a certain amount of stamina?
Spoilers, yes.
Okay.
Two full wheels is what you need if you want to go for it.
I
Because I
like that
imagine it'd
they've
be frustrating to get to it and then be like, I've been focusing on my health instead of my stamina like a sociopath.
I like that they've rounded that out from the last game.
Yeah. But yes, it is a shame. All the rumors were that you were going to play as Zelda. And who knows? But I imagine I would have been spoiled on that if that was a thing at any point in this game by this point.
hmm See, be great to me if it was, oh, you play as Link and he's got this new magic power system, and then right after that, you learn, oh, and in case you liked Breath of the Wild so much, here's Zelda, she's got the old one.
Mm, I will say, and I'm just gonna spoil the what happened to Zelda real quick. Zelda has been sent to the past, like
hmm
10,000 years into the past. I wouldn't be shocked because God knows this game's going to get some DLC and expansion packs. I wouldn't be shocked if some of like her adventure in the past is some DLC, but I wouldn't. I would go like, oh, I didn't expect that, but I wouldn't like be flabbergasted, you know.
hmm
Uh, so there's still a chance, but I'm kind of doubting it.
Yeah. Boy, howdy, they really make you think with those cutscenes. Oh, are you about to start playing as her? No, no, you're not.
It'd be really cool, man. I don't know what to tell you, and it would
hmm
be cool if you could just trade off back and forth and like. I mean, this series loves playing with like time travel and like the benefits of that. Maybe you play as Zelda and you open a door in the past and it's open for Link in the future, you know, stuff like
hmm
that. But oh well.
Now, do we want to consider that spoilery, saying that she's in the past? Because it's really early in the game that you visit where Zelda's supposed to be, and where is she? The Temple of Time.
Yeah, like it's pretty like it be I first thought, oh, she's probably in the past when I finished the Sky tutorial island,
hmm
but I wasn't certain. And then I went to one of the tiers, and she talked to like the first king of Hyrule and went, "I'm in the past," uh, or in so many words said that.
Yeah.
So it's not a big spoiler, but I would say it is sort of.
Oh boy. It's neat that she gets to see her great 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 grandparents.
And you know what's even neater, John?
What's that?
One of them's a weird goat man.
Mm-hmm. Uh, that is one question that immediately arose within my mind. Is okay. So you've got Hylians,
Sure,
and then you've got these goat people,
the
and
Zonai.
the Zonai. But those people are from outer space, maybe.
At
And
least
then,
the sky, but who can say?
yeah, and then those two creatures can make babies. What?
It does seem strange. Yeah, I don't got anything to make that better.
Mm-hmm.
I do
Which
love
brings me
Raru.
to another theory
Yeah.
for Origin.
Okay, here we go.
Maybe you can just breed with anything.
Okay. Challenging. Okay.
So maybe Link meets one of these helpful constructs, and they're like, "Oh, and by the way, I'm single." And then he's like, "Yeah," and then they do it.
Okay. Okay. You have said that.
Because let's face it,
Let's
it
face it, John.
feels like they're always going to be half and half with the okay, is this relationship a thing between Link and Zelda? Feels like okay, um they seem to be into each other, but also not at all. It's really weird. And then like Link will see a bunch of other ladies and they flirt with them, and then he sees these fairy queens and they straight up will, at the fourth level of enhancing your armor, I have to presume do something very intimate with you.
Yeah.
So like what's going on with Link and his relationships? Is he just a free agent? Would he be with a mechanical being?
Hmm.
Could he be the progenitor of the car race?
Before we go much farther, how much do you care about spoilers in general? Since I'm a little further in this game than you.
Like, huh? Not very much, but if it's like a oh, and then this absolutely crazy thing happens that no
Yeah.
one saw coming, maybe not that.
Sure. Sure.
If
Uh,
it's like a oh, and here's a mechanic, oh, here's when you get this, that's fine.
or like here's a small thing from a village I went to
Yes.
that is pertinent to our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, and this has been talked about a lot online, so you may have all seen this anyway. This game does feel like the most like confirmed Link and Zelda are an item
Mm-hmm.
because you go to where you built a house in the last game, and it is now Zelda's house, is what it's called on the area. Uh, and at first I was like, Zelda stole my house. I'm pissed. Uh,
She has an entire kingdom. Why does she need my house?
but like, there's still like some of your stuff there. Like you find one of your hair bands there, and you can sleep in the bed, which usually you can't do in this game
Mm-hmm.
unless you own the bed uh, and stuff like that. So it's hinting that they're in more of a relationship than at least it usually does.
Mm-hmm. Like they were real comfortable at the very beginning, and she's all like, "I know I'm safe with you," but also that could be like a brother thing, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean he is fully like basically her bodyguard is his job.
Mm-hmm.
So like it would suck if she didn't feel safe with him.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But also, like, if he's your bodyguard, why would you feel the need to tell him that you feel safe with him?
sure, that's also fair. But going back to your point about the compatibility of anything in this game, the only reason, well, not the only reason, but the big reason that I'm not gelling with that is we don't see any like birdfish people or rock monster fish people. And the Gerudo, the Gerudo aren't a different race. They're just a group of people. They've been shown to that there is evidence that the Gerudo, I don't know, mate with Hylians in this game.
It's not even evidence, it's a requirement. As the Gerudo are only female,
Yeah, like that's
their their DNA takes over, and whatever they give birth to with the assistance of any other race will be 100% Gerudo.
yeah. So maybe that actually lends some credence to it because that's not like normal human stuff,
Mm-hmm.
what you just described. But I don't know. So the
Now,
Zonai and Hylians are compatible. Gerudo and Hylians are compatible. Potentially Gerudo and I don't know Gorons, Ritos, Zoras, but I'm not so sure about that one.
now, how many of those specifically have the power to fuse things together.
Just the Zonai. Well, the Zonai and Link, but it's because his arm is a Zonai arm.
Mm-hmm. But if it's a Zonai trait, and we know that modern day uh, Hylians are in some way Zonai, then there's probably some sort of recessive trait where, like, oh, also you can just go crazy.
I don't like how you've described it. I'll be honest with you, John.
Well,
But
you can just place your arm, your zombified, decaying arm, on another person's arm instead.
sure.
You can fuse things. You can make robot pieces go together in strange and wonderful ways using some sort of, I assume, organic substance.
Yeah. The weird green goop
Mm-hmm.
fuses stuff together. Yeah. And I gotta be honest, John. I haven't run into this, so this isn't a spoiler. I wouldn't be surprised. This full speculation. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some larger character in this game who is fully a construct, or like someone from Zelda's time who has somehow survived by making themselves a robot body, or something like that.
Mm.
Like all that seems very plausible in this game. So there are lots of roads to cars, as we often find.
Mm-hmm. Now, I would be surprised because they're weirdly separating the idea of, okay, there are people and then there are robots, and those are distinct in that one of them does whatever they're told to do, and the other one,
Tells them what to do.
uh, things just kind of happen to them.
Sure, yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask you a spoiler question that has nothing to do with the podcast at all.
Sure, man.
How do you hold up the signs for the guy?
Ah, come on, man. You're the engineer. you
Yeah,
gotta,
but I've tried to use the hand and it won't let me use the hand.
yeah, you can't use the hand directly on the sign. You've got to build like a sort of base under and around it to hold it up.
Would it be something to catch it? Because that's the problem I've been having is that it just drops.
Yeah, but you can like butt it up right underneath it or against it. You can't attach it directly to it, but you can like put it directly under it, or like sometimes there'll be. Have you only run into this guy once?
Like 3 times now.
Okay. Uh, so each of his signs are different. Sometimes you can put like the stuff through it or across it, or yeah, you just got to build a structure that holds it up, is what you got to do instead of holding it up directly.
But it'd be so much easier to just attach it to something that already exists.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really get the difference in materials between what I am using to make and the sign he is holding. So
Mm-hmm.
I would think, or I don't need to use my weird god powers. I got two normal hands. Well, I've got one hand and a not normal hand that can function as a normal hand.
Yeah.
I can just hold that stuff while you shore it up, buddy.
Mm-hmm. But nope, he's just gonna hold it until he dies.
And God, his work life balance isn't great, but he sure is dedicated,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't say he's not.
Yep. 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 That is true.
Yeah, he is
Okay.
quite literally all over the map.
Oh boy. Why did they decide in this game that they had to redo everything? That's my question.
Give me an example.
The towers? Why are they a completely different thing?
Okay,
The Sheikah Slate? Why is
it's
that a different
it's
thing?
now the Pura pad. Yeah. I I guess story wise, we can go into why the game developers decided to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think story wise, after you defeated Ganon in the first game, the towers and the shrines from that game either go back underground or like disappear or decay or something. I think also, because I've had the same question, if I'm being honest, people have said you can see parts of the old towers being made to construct the new towers. And then that links in with the Puripad. I don't know why you don't have the Sheikah Slate. I can't really speculate on that. Maybe the same thing happened when you defeated Ganon. It exploded. With all the Guardians, apparently, too.
Hmm.
Uh, so the Puripad's a new thing, so it doesn't have map data. So it has to be connected to these new towers to get the map data. From a game design point of view, I don't know, man. They couldn't just give you everything that you had in the first game. They had to do the classic. What people complain about in Metroid games is often very sloppy. The
Hmm.
She starts out and she has all her stuff, and then she gets bonked on the head and loses all her cool gadgets.
Yeah, she gets one bad bonking, and then all of her stuff is all gone.
And then, especially the way I play Metroid games, no subsequent bonks, of which there are many, will do the same thing. But don't worry
Hmm.
about it.
It is kind of bizarre how one encounter with this guy who breaks your sword gets rid of everything from all of your work forever. And after that, the only way to fix everything is to go back and do it all again.
Yeah.
And then you encounter the same power spread across the entire world, and it doesn't do the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that sums it up, man. I I understand because some people like have like big complaints regarding that of like they could have stepped a few steps further from Breath of the Wild, which I get people saying. Like they didn't have to do shrines again. They didn't
Hmm.
really have to do towers again.
They
But
really didn't need to do Korok seats again.
you don't have to do the Koroks if you don't want to do the Koroks.
But then how am I going to hold so many weapons?
That's true. Uh, they did at least invent a way that the internet has quickly found to deeply and profoundly torture the Koroks, this time at least.
Oh boy,
Oh, have you not been seeing those
I've
videos?
not.
You know the ones that are like, oh, I've got to get to my friend who you can pick up and stuff?
Hmm.
People have been using the full creativity this game allows to uh, make them on a little kebab and spin them around the flame emitters. I saw someone made like a full two-stage rocket to shoot one into space. Uh, the funniest one I saw is someone got a wagon, is probably the simplest, and made a crucifix and put the Korok on it. Uh,
Oh boy.
and the video was just some weird Latin song that as they paraded the crucified Korok around town. Uh, Liz really, really hates it because she loves the Korok so much, but
They
it is
give you
pretty
their
funny.
poop
They do, but then you give their poop to their dad, and their dad gives you the ability to hold more weapons.
after dancing around with the poop.
The good news is his dance is very slightly different this time, so take that, haters.
Well, there were originally three dances, right?
Maybe? I don't
So now
remember.
they're all slightly different?
Maybe. Who can say? Not me.
Now, I have seen a TikTok rendition of that is better.
Okay, that sounds
It's
pretty good.
it's that set to some sexy music.
That checks out, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing I don't understand from like a lore standpoint why you don't have it
Hmm.
is Link all of Link's wonderful outfits that I picked out for him last time around. Uh, I don't know how these got back in caves and stuff. I worked so hard to get all of those.
Well, are you getting the same ones or different ones?
Different ones that look exactly the same, maybe. Uh,
Huh.
Maybe. Because you can get, like, I don't know, I've got a piece of the Barbarian set from last game and a few other sets similar to that.
Okay. Because I don't remember having a skydiving suit from the last one.
No, no, for sure. There are certainly lots of new sets of armor also, but like I had to re-get the Zora armor and etc.
Hmm.
Uh, maybe I just gave it all back. I don't know. Maybe Link is a man who doesn't believe in having too many worldly possessions. which is odd
Probably.
because I
That's why he
didn't.
gave his house away.
Yeah, I was gonna point out the house, but he did give that away.
Hmm. Okay, so one thing about this game.
Yeah,
Uh, why can't I have my bomb power again?
the bombs are a hard one, man,
Yeah.
because looking from outside of my perspective of actually playing the game, I'm like, yeah, people abused that power a lot. They made fights not all super easy, but I know some people would just, especially combined with weapon durability, they'd
Hmm.
be like, okay, I'm never going to use any of these swords because they'll break, so I'm just going to throw bombs at them for 30 full minutes until they
Hmm.
die. So, like, I get why they took them away, but at the same time, they also added a lot of rocks that you have to break in this game. Like,
Hmm.
significantly more rocks you gotta break. And it does kind of suck, yeah.
All right. Uh, two more complaints.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of the combining things power for weapons.
I get that.
It doesn't do much for me. It's okay, I can make a hammer, I can make an axe, but now I also have to do those things to do any mining, which is very important.
Yeah.
And also, like, it just means that they have more reason to make the weapons that you do collect worse.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but it clicked for me later in my playthrough, uh, and now I'm kind of into it. In that, like, especially at you know how the more you fight, like the general enemies, the tougher they get. Uh,
Mm.
like just sort of behind the scenes, you'll start seeing more blue and black and silver and gold versions of them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what they drop is then better. Uh, so like once you start getting things that actually really impact how good your weapons are, uh, it clicked more for me, and it especially clicked more for me when I realized instead of like uh, picking it all up and then going through my inventory and then dropping what I wanted to combine, uh, and like defusing something and doing that, like just once I finished a battle, don't pick anything up. Look and see if I have anything not fused, and fuse it to like the best thing, that best monster part.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that also really improves your weapon's durability, or at least to some extent. So that
Mm-hmm.
also helps, you know. But I also see the complaints with it.
Yeah. And also with this game, it's probably a matter of me being less patient,
Sure.
but it feels like there's less of a railroad. Like I
Yeah.
don't know where to go when to do things. So right now, it feels like I'm just kind of super underpowered for what I'm supposed to be doing, and like one hit'll kill me. One swing will kill me with any of these enemies. A guy just like, oh, I'm gonna shoot a fireball at you, which didn't know you could do that by combining fire with something. I don't even know what he combined with it, but he just combined something, and then all of a sudden, his sword shoots fire, and it immediately kills me. And it's really cool, but it's also really upsetting because I don't know if I'm supposed to be here yet.
That's fair enough.
And technically, no, I'm not supposed to be anywhere because it's an open world and everything is at your own pace. But also, there's something to be said about guided pacing.
Yeah, I will say that there is. They sure do push you in a certain direction first once you're on the ground, which is sort of northwest to the bird village. Uh, if you do like the main two or three things at the place with Pura Lookout, whatever Lookout Landing,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called. And I would also recommend doing that first because you get a power that helps traversal in a nice way. Uh, but no, I also this one is harder. Like it just straight up is. The enemies hit harder, and that kind of sucks. But it's also kind of fun. I don't know, man. I'm on the fence about it. And
And their weapons, they straight up have like someone explain in that village, like, hey, you're welcome to take any of these weapons, but they've all decayed because of evil power that makes everything worse. So yeah, it'll break in 2 hits, and also it doesn't do much damage, even though it's a straight up sword.
they're trying to make you fuse them, man.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
yeah,
then you get an ancient sword, and did you know you can fuse sword with sword? Because that's beautiful.
fusing sword with sword is never a bad idea.
You can
Uh,
fuse sword with bow, which is not as great, I
yeah,
would
that
say.
that one is, I would say, maybe a bad. I did fuse shield with bow was one of the first things I did, and I was like, "Ooh, I
You
wonder
can
what
fuse
this will do."
shield?
Yeah, if you hold down the the fuse button,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you hit Y for your weapon, and then the shield button to fuse stuff to your shield.
Okay. Weird.
Yeah,
I tried it with sword and I tried it with bow and I didn't succeed with bow, so I just assumed that's not possible and I assumed nothing else was possible.
I mean you can do arrows.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I was about to say the fusion with arrows is the best part of the fusion. I hope you've found
Hmm.
that, but
That
uh,
is pretty great because bomb arrows are possible
yeah, yeah.
immediately in this game.
Also, fusion with arrows makes the depths tolerable because you
Hmm.
can fuse those little glowy seeds and shoot them all around.
And boy howdy do I need an infinite supply of arrows and other supplies.
Yeah, my arrows have been running thin the
Hmm.
entire game, which is a shame. I fought a big dragon and had him on the ropes and then ran out of arrows and he flew really high in the air and then he killed me
Yeah,
because I didn't have any arrows.
I tried to kill the creepy hands,
Oh, I hate the
and
creepy hands so much, man.
I could only do anything with arrows and bomb arrows specifically. And then I ran out of bomb arrows, and then I ran out of fire arrows, and then I ran out of arrows in general, and I couldn't do anything more. I killed like 2 of them.
Yeah, the only way I've found to effectively kill the hands is to have just a bunch of bombs and arrows and just absolutely carpet bomb them until
Hmm.
they go away because they scare me so much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
sure there's some
they just
strategy.
show up.
Yeah, it's not a good scene. I don't like them. They
Hmm.
are really cool though, and if you beat them, a cool thing happens. I'll say that.
Dang, I gotta do that then.
It does involve yet more fighting, but it's a cool fight.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a really good game, man. Have you
Yeah,
done any of like the main story stuff? Like, have you gone to any of the 4 regions yet?
I am currently in the ice ship.
Like the temple up there.
Yeah,
Mm.
well, the ship itself.
I think it's called the Wind Temple, even though
Yeah.
it's a big ship.
Hmm.
It's
I've got one more thing to do in it, and then I'm gonna hopefully have it done. But boy howdy, like you need to be prepared to do these things because you don't have things cooked and you don't know how to cook things right, and all of a sudden you're gonna freeze to death because you couldn't afford to buy the armor because it's
you
still
got
the
to just get
beginning of
the
the
armor.
game.
Yeah, you got to get the armor, man. It makes it so much easier. Do you at least have the warm pants from the tutorial
I've
island?
got the warm pants
But
and
they
I've
don't
got
quite do
some
enough.
peppers.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I was like, oh, it's still snowing everywhere. I'm fine. And then you get to the very top, like, okay, now it's too cold. And now is the important part of the game.
Yeah, and that sort of happened to me, and I went, okay, I'm just gonna go get enough money to get that armor because I'm not dealing
Hmm.
with this. Uh, but I couldn't even be that mad because I was like, it makes sense that it'd be colder up here because we're really high up. But I'm
Hmm.
mad.
It's really high up, and we're going to the thing that's making the blizzard.
Yeah, both things make sense that would make it cold, but it's still annoying.
Hmm.
I will
It's
say,
admittedly just a kindness that they gave you those pants that early.
yeah, I liked that temple. I liked getting to that temple a lot more than the temple itself.
Boy, howdy. That temple, getting to it was really neat until it became 3 different things you had to juggle at a time. It was make sure you're not freezing to death.
Sure.
Also, make sure you're able to fight off all these enemies back to back to back, and also don't fall.
Yeah, they don't hold your hand too much in this one, man.
Yeah. uh, again, like resource management, they did a lot with this game, and everything is supposed to be very balanced.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. Like I'll be in a cave. I'll be at the bottom of like a big cliff. I'll be
Hmm.
like, ah, gotta climb this thing, and
Not
we'll
always.
not usually, but I always forget I have the magic fly upwards and swim through rock power.
Hmm.
Uh,
Which is beautiful.
oh, it's incredible. It's wild that this is in a game because
Hmm.
it just feels like it shouldn't work as well
Yeah.
as it does, you know.
I
But
can, like, it's one of the reasons that you can tell. Okay, so there's a reason this game took so long to come out, and that's
yeah,
because they had to think about every single rock placement, every single thing where it's okay, how am I gonna make sure they don't just zoom up throughout this thing? We got to
yeah.
limit the height. We got to make sure that these things are at a certain angle so you can't get through it. And we got to do that for the entire game.
Even more than that one, I've been forgetting I have the ability to rewind time on stuff.
Hmm.
That one seems very situational anyway. It's
Hmm.
like if a creature throws something at you or a big rock fall from sky, or the two
Or if
times I use
rock
it.
looks like it doesn't belong there, it may
Hmm,
have fallen from the sky at some point.
that's true. That's true. May have to look out for that a little bit more.
It's, man, it's crazy how much it's like, okay, you're supposed to be able to be thrown hundreds of feet up and down constantly.
Have you been has there been any sort of go-to solutions to puzzles you've been going to? I know the popular one on the internet is just Long Bridge. Uh, if you
Long
can't
Bridge is
figure it out,
good.
make Long Bridge.
Make
Which,
Long Bridge is good. I found one Long Bridge that I had to make. I don't know if this was the actual solution or anything, but uh, I made Long Bridge and then it fell because I didn't know the spacing.
mm,
So I had to make another Long Bridge, but I didn't have enough to make it long enough. So I made Hook Long Bridge
ooh, there you go.
and I like angled it, and angling a Long Bridge correctly is great. And they thought about the physics in this game well enough to make me real happy as an engineer, because there's one thing where it's okay, you got to make a hook because you don't have a hook. So you've got this right angle piece and you put it on the ball, and then you just add weight to the other side of the ball so that it'll pull the hook the way you want it to go. And
Ooh.
it worked immediately. It was great.
Do you want me to tell you a thing that feels almost like an exploit in this game that is
Absolutely.
can be a solution to a lot of puzzles?
Hmm.
Have you seen or done the thing where you just grab something with Ultra Hand and put it up in the air and then drop it, and then you stand on it and use the rewind time thing, and it just gives you an elevator, only to how high you can Ultra Hand things, but sometimes that's oftentimes enough.
I have not thought about that. That is beautiful.
Yeah, I saw that one in like a TikTok or something, and immediately was like, "That's the simplest thing in the world," and I bet it breaks so many puzzles.
Hmm.
And it less than you'd think, but some where I've just been frustrated and been like, I don't know, because I always try to do the puzzle the way it wants me to do the puzzle first. But if I
Hmm.
get bored or frustrated, then I'll make elevator.
Yeah. I'm so upset because I'm thinking back to one early puzzle and I'm like, I should have done that, because it's the one with the spikes in the wall. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this the way you want me to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
So instead, I just kind of made it throw the ball to where I wanted it
Mm.
so I could drop it.
It's a good video game, man. Do you think
Yeah.
Cars came because of it?
I think that the answer is probably. Not definitely, but probably.
Yeah, I mean, like there are wheels that
Hmm.
are clearly like stuff is powered in this game, which is
Hmm.
wild for a Zelda game, even
Hmm.
that there are wheels that work on power and you can put a steering wheel on something and drive it around.
that was trippy for me when it was just like, oh, you don't need to know mechanics for this. It's just this one functions as steering wheel.
Yeah, when I found a dispenser that gave me a bunch of those, I was like, okay, this is the one I'm coming back to every single time because flying a plane, flying one of the wing gliders by like moving around it and shifting its center of gravity is not something I'm very good at.
I have only used it when it was like first introduced,
Mm,
and I don't know if I'm gonna ever like become consistent with those just because I don't know how to get them high up and
yeah,
then drop them in a good way.
I feel like I saw another like recall trick you could do to get them in the perfect place, but I don't remember what it was. Uh, and now now I just have like 20 steering sticks in my backpack. So if I ever see one, I can just do that, and that's so much easier and better.
Nice. I do like Instapots for cooking.
I need to cook more in this game. I really don't do it much, which is dumb because then I die. Because
I've
just
needed to.
I either die or then I get hit really hard and I'm like, well, guess I that stock of 20 tomatoes is going down real quick.
I don't think I've found a single tomato.
Yeah, they're. I don't know that they were in the first game. I can't remember, but they're highly in tomatoes. They heal
I have found
a
so
full
many
heart, which
apples.
is nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's how much apple do if you cook it, right?
sure. I don't know, man. But then I'll
Oh
run out
boy.
of tomatoes and stuff, and I'll be like, ah, well, this mushroom only cures a quarter of a heart, but I've got 40 of them,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess.
Really dumb complaint of mine. I wish it were easier to cook individual apples.
Mm,
Like, I want to be able to hold 5 apples and put them in and it not be one dish. I want 5 apples
I
because I don't have enough health for it to be worth it to have a 5 heart thing. I
sure.
need 5 individual heart apples.
I think if instead of putting them in a pot, you put them like right next to a fire.
Basically
It,
on the fire. And
yeah,
then you have to like hope that they fall right.
yeah, and then you don't like they don't get destroyed before you can get to them.
Hmm.
Sometimes I think,
And
but
then I'm just gonna pick up the wrong apple.
you're just gonna, and that's just what's gonna happen.
Hmm. And again, that's on me. That's not their fault that I'm not good at dropping things. All right. Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
Why is it called that? Well, there are little things that are like a thing you have to find that are tears.
yeah. There are several tier related things in this game. It's actually I think it's pretty obvious. Joe. It's pretty fucking.
It's also the whole kingdom has been torn apart by this tragedy.
Maybe it's tears of the kingdom. Has anyone
Oh,
considered that? Probably not because it's stupid, but
yeah, yeah,
it might
yeah.
be.
Maybe. Who knows?
Who did?
Let's find out. Okay. Is there a motor wheel that goes backward as well as forward? Because
If
that's
you,
one complaint about these cars is that I made a car that just goes forward. Like you can turn it side to side because steering wheel, but you can't go backward.
I thought you could with the steering stick, but maybe I'm just wrong about that. I know with the fans, and this makes sense because they're fans. You can't reverse with anything fan powered, but I thought
Hmm.
you could reverse very slowly with wheeled stuff, but I could be wrong about that. I
And
actually
another
think I'm
thing
wrong about that.
that's interesting is that everything seems to be powered at the same time if it's connected,
Hmm.
which was a real trip when I tried to put a rocket on the front of my thing so it wouldn't go off, and then I hit the rocket that was on the back because I just wanted to carry a rocket with me.
Mm.
And turns out that just lifted me up as well as pushed me forward. So that was not the solution.
Oh man, you haven't. So you don't know that you can fuse things to your shield. You gotta fuse a rocket to your shield, man.
Okay, you take out the shield, does rocket immediately go and then shoot
Yeah.
you forward?
Uh, doesn't shoot you forward. Have you been? Did you play? You played the first one, didn't you?
Hmm.
Have you been missing Rivali's Gale that shoots you into the air pretty high?
I'm so upset I haven't been doing this.
Yeah, and it's not the easiest thing to come by, so it's not quite Rivali scale. But if you need it in a pinch, I try to carry one on me.
Hmm. I need to find a dispensary for those.
Yeah, they're real good, man.
Boy, howdy. These dispensers are weird.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot about just some of the systems in the game I'm not fully getting.
Hmm.
But that's fine, probably. I've put in quite a lot of hours, and I mean, I put in like 150 to the first game and literally never beat Ganon.
Oh,
Uh,
boy.
yeah, I got hyper focused on getting all the shrines and then burnt out, which I could see happening in this one.
Now, for me, I beat Ganon and then tried to get hyperfixated on the shrines, and I got to like 150, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've never had enough hyperfixation to go for the Koroks, which is good. It's good and healthy for me as a person and where
Hmm.
I'm at to not try to get all the Koroks.
Once I was like fully upgraded, I'm like, there's no reason anymore. There's 400 plus more of these things. I'm good.
Yeah, and the reward is a joke because like, what would you need? You've been quite
Hmm.
literally everywhere in the game. There's nothing we could give you that would now make your playthrough better. But
You get a trophy.
yeah, you get a star next to your profile. Is what you get.
And do you know what the trophy is?
Oh, it's his poop. It's his
It's his
poop, man.
poop.
No, it's
But
it's a bigger pile of his poop this time.
they decided subtlety is out the window. We need to show them exactly what this is.
Do we want to rate this one, or is this barely an origin enough to not rate it?
Let's rate it just for the fun of it.
Yeah,
It's it's magic, so technically I guess it's a 10 out of 10.
yeah. You make cars. There's sentient machines. Combine the two,
There's
it's
groups
fine.
of people mating that shouldn't be able to that can, so
Yeah, we got there. Uh, and how fun it was. We had a good time talking about a video game we like. So I'll
mhm.
say, I don't know, like a 7, because the discussion about cars was not what was fun.
Yeah, yeah. And let's go for how many Tears of the Kingdom out of Link?
For the game itself, a
Hmm.
billion.
A
So
billion? All
yeah,
right. I'm gonna go only a million because sometimes it's slow because I'm not very good.
man, too true.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
And it
thank
sucks how much it makes you acknowledge that, oh, this is fair, but come on.
yeah, it makes me mad how hard it is to get mad at the game sometimes when I
Like,
really want to.
it's always your fault that something bad has happened, and that sucks emotionally, but it's great game design.
But you know, it doesn't suck that you listen to our podcast. So thank you for doing that. We really do appreciate it. And if you want to write in and tell us something, whether it be, cars related or not, this episode barely was. So you can do that at our email, which is thekachat@gmail.com, or on Twitter at thekachat. Now John says his part of the outro.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell anyone and everyone you think might be the least bit interested in this kooky, quirky, strange little podcast. And until next time, remember to float like a Cadillac.
And sting like a beamer.
Tiny robot armies taking over your town. Staring, shaking, stuttering